The Senate will come to order. Good afternoon. The senators will please take their seats. Those persons not entitled to the privileges of the floor will retire to the gallery. The senators and all in attendance, please stand and be led in prayer by the Reverend Dr. Lynn P. Rinaldi of the Pohick Episcopal Church in Lorton. Following the prayer, everyone will please remain standing. We will be led in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America by our Senate page, Mary Place of Lynchburg.
Let us pray. Lord God, we thank you for the life and witness of your servant, George Washington. On this 290th anniversary of his birth, we give thanks that he grew into a divinely inspired founder and leader of our great state and nation. We recognize that Washington struggled and grew in his faith over the years, as we all do. His early prayers revealed a simplistic belief that you would bring about a swift victory for the righteous colonies. Yet days stretched into years of loss and suffering, including a devastating smallpox pandemic. Even as despair threatened, Washington was transformed. He turned to you, embraced mystery, and believed in what he called the inscrutable ways of providence. Today, in the midst of our trying times of sickness, death, and division, we look to President Washington once again as an icon of genuine faith, of humility, reconciliation, and boundless hope. Help us learn from his witness, for he sought to maintain balance and a middle ground, rooted and grounded in a faith nurtured in his family and his church. His life was filled with hospitality, grace, civility, and justice. We are thankful for his tolerance of religious expression and his insistence on listening with respect. Washington rarely allowed religious or political convictions to become a source of division or contention or separation. He carried a strength of conviction while he honestly struggled with moral issues. He was passionate about his service in the Virginia House of Burgesses. While he was not perfect, he grew from his mistakes, insecurities, and struggles. He was heartbroken at the contention witnessed early in our fledgling nation's government, and he prayed fervently to you for a spirit of listening, collaboration, and cohesion. We are eternally grateful this day for Washington's indispensable role in the birth of our nation and the formation of its moral fiber. Help us as individuals, as a state and a nation, to mature likewise into the genuine and lived faith that evolved over George Washington's lifetime. Lord, we ask you to anoint this day to guide and bless the debate and decisions made this and every day in the Virginia Senate. May these men and women continue to seek your wisdom as they govern and serve your people with compassion and grace. Renew them this day with your spirit of hope and joy. In God's most holy name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The clerk will now call the roll. All those present, please vote aye. The clerk will close the roll.
You have a quorum, Madam President. Senate Journal for Monday, February 21st, 2022.
The senator from Franklin County, Senator Stanley, moves that the reading of the journal be waived. All in favor of waiving the reading of the journal will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 36, noes 4.
Ayes 36, noes 4. The reading of the journal is waived. The clerk will now report any communications from the House of Delegates. The chair recognizes the senior senator from Fairfax County, Senator Saslaw.
Madam President, I move that we waive the reading of the communications from the House of Delegates.
The question is, shall the reading of the communication be waived? Those in favor of waiving the reading of the communication from the House of Delegates will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 35, noes 5.
Ayes 35, noes 5. The reading of the communication is waived. The clerk will now report any communications from the governor.
We do not have any, Madam President.
Now comes the time in the morning hour when we get to hear about our visitors. And what will happen is your name will be called, or the name of your group will be called, and please rise at that time. And we will hear about you, and then you will hold your applause until after we hear about how wonderful you are. So with that, I now call on the senator from Eastern Fairfax County, Senator Saravel.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise for an introduction.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, joining us today was the Reverend Lynn Rinaldi. She's actually also a doctor. And Reverend Rinaldi hails to us. You may have noticed the theme in her speech. She hails from Pohick Episcopal Church, which is a 288-year-old church founded in 1732 by our country's father, George Washington's father, Augustine Washington. And we have a tradition here where she comes and gives us our morning ritual, or the pastor, the rector of that church gives us a morning ritual on George Washington's birthday every year, which is a tradition I'm very proud of here. And she hails from the South. Before she came here, she came from Mississippi and Texas, and she has a master's degree, a doctorate, a lot of board certifications, and very impressive resume. And she's also a constituent of mine, where she leads her flock. And I would encourage anybody who's up in the area in Northern Virginia, feel free to stop by the church. It's an historic place. Has a lot of history there. I think they have a baptismal font that came over from England, I think, in there, which is an interesting curiosity about the church. But hope you all found her blessing this morning to be insightful and wise, and hope, Madam President, you could give her the greetings of the Senate.
Good morning again. Actually, I should say good afternoon. And thank you for your wonderful prayer and for reminding us that faith guided the lives of our first president. And also, as well as you know, he was the leader of the Continental Army. And thank you for that. And so, ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, please give her the warm welcome of her Senate. Thank you. Chair recognizes the gentleman from Chesapeake, the senior senator from Chesapeake, Senator Cosgrove.
Thank you, Madam President, and good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Madam President, I rise for the purposes of an introduction.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, today I'm excited to introduce members of the Young Republican Federation of Virginia. The VRFW was started in 1947 to help recruit, train, and elect Republican candidates and to inform the 18 to 40-year-olds about the political process here in our Commonwealth of Virginia. And in the gallery today, we have a couple of very special people. First is Thomas Turner, who is a political warrior. And we also have with him Matthew Sukup from actually the Greater Richmond YRs. Let me tell you about these folks. When they come to town, They don't just come knock on a few doors. They come with military precision. It is like an invasion. It's unbelievable to watch them, and they will work from sunrise till sunset. And all they ask for is maybe a pizza or a place to sleep. And so, Madam President, the VFRW has 20 clubs across the Commonwealth with numerous members that serve in the House and Senate, including the gentleman from Roanoke County, Senator Suderline. So, Madam President, if you would, please give the warm welcome of the Senate to the members of the VRFW who are here with us today.
Good afternoon to you again. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being part of the electoral process. As I keep saying, we need to hear all voices, and certainly you contribute in a way that so many times is behind the scenes, but can't be done and with just one person doing it. It takes all hands. So, senators, do let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. Chair now calls on the gentlelady from Northern Fairfax County, Senator Howell.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise for an introduction.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you so much. Today, we are fortunate to have in the gallery the family of my seatmate, the senior senator from Fairfax County, Senator Saslaw. We have his wife, Eleanor. They have been married for over 53 years. Eleanor had a distinguished career as a counselor and then served on the State Board of Education, I believe, serving with you, Madam President, and now has set up a nonprofit organization to help students get more financial aid to go to colleges. If you don't have to have been around my seatmate for very long to know how very proud he is of their daughter, Jennifer, and also her husband, Max. And you might notice two adorable children up there. That's Vivian and Henry. I hope you give them the warm welcome of the Senate.
Good morning to you all. And again, Mrs. Saslaw, I do remember my time on the board, and you reminded me, you took charge and said, "Winsome, we get along on this board." I clearly remember that, and we did. We had some times of difficulty, but we got along for sure. And so, senators, please let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. And your over half a century of marriage to the senator. Chair recognizes now the gentleman from Lynchburg, Senator Peake.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise for the purposes of an introduction.
Senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Today we have visiting us in the gallery members of the Virginia Association of Defense Attorneys. We have the President, Jason Moyers, the immediate past President, Tate Love, Patrick O'Grady, the Legislative Committee Chair, and Sherma Mather, the Executive Director. The VADA was established in 1968. Its mission is to assist Virginia attorneys in the professional and ethical representation of their clients in civil litigation through education, communication, and fellowship. Today, there are over 750 VADA members across the Commonwealth engaged in appellate advocacy, corporate and commercial litigation, the defense of local governments, and the defense of medical malpractice, product and toxic torts, professional liability, auto and transportation liability, and workers' compensation claims. The association is visiting the General Assembly today to discuss issues of interest to VADA's membership and to affirm VADA's commitment to the fair and efficient administration of justice across the Commonwealth. I hope you will give them the warm welcome of the Senate.
Good afternoon to you again. Thank you for coming to watch your Senate in action. I know that there is a line in Shakespeare's play, one of them, that says, "Kill all the lawyers." But what they forget is that what that means is without the attorneys, no one knows the practice of the law. No one can be defended in the way that they should be. So thank you so very much for what you do. And senators, please let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. Chair now recognizes the senior senator from Richmond City, Senator McClellan.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise for an introduction.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Joining us in the gallery today, we have members from the Virginia Promise Partnership, which is a coalition of over 30 leading organizations who are committed to strengthening and expanding access to child care services here in Virginia. Launched in December of 2021, the partnership centers the voices of parents and providers to advocate for long-term early childhood education policies and resources. And we've made a lot of progress in strengthening and stabilizing the child care industry, which was already facing a crisis to meet the needs of every family. But as a result of COVID, that crisis has gotten even worse. So they're here today as part of their advocacy day to advocate for more funding and resources and some flexibility from the state so that we can help to meet the child care needs of every child, regardless of their zip code. And I ask that you give them a warm Senate welcome.
Good afternoon to you again. Thank you for coming. I tell you that I know the days I could not be where I am today had I not had child care, because society had changed so much that our families were not around as they used to be. And so thank you so very much for caring about our children and for what you do and for the sacrifice that you're making to make it all happen. And senators, let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. And the chair now recognizes the junior senator from Virginia Beach, Senator Kiggins.
Madam President, I rise for purposes of an introduction.
The senator has the floor.
Madam President, it's an honor today to have representatives from the Virginia Beach Historic Preservation Commission with us. These are student leaders at the Student Leaders Committee from the City of Virginia Beach. These students serve on a subcommittee of the Virginia Beach Historic Preservation Commission, which is a city council-appointed advisory board that works to preserve, protect, and maintain the historic identity of Virginia Beach through a program of advocacy and increased public awareness and involvement. The commission was the recipient of the Preservation Virginia's 2019 Catherine Glaze Rockwood Award for Outstanding Community Preservation. And their involvement of students in the local preservation program was one of the primary reasons cited for receiving this recognition. 2 high school students are appointed annually by the City Council to serve as non-voting members of the Historic Preservation Commission. And the committee members serve as advocates for historic preservation in their schools and community and work on projects that raise awareness about the historical character of Virginia Beach. Today, the Student Leaders Committee members are in Richmond extending their advocacy efforts to the highest level in the Commonwealth. And we welcome our future leaders. We wish them success in their efforts as advocates for historic preservation. We have so much great history in the city of Virginia Beach, and we are thankful for their efforts. We've got beautiful historic homes. We've got beautiful historic lighthouses, so much history with our military background. So thank you for all that you all do to keep that history alive and to preserve it. And I respectfully request that we give them the warm welcome of the Senate.
Good afternoon to you again as well, and thank you for caring enough to get involved at such a young age. You know, one of the things we are told is that the one thing we learn from history is that we don't learn from history. But with your help, your leadership, certainly we're going to be changing that. Thank you so very much for your sacrifice to the Commonwealth, using your time to do this. Senators, let us give our future leaders the warm welcome of their Senate. Thank you. Is there any other business to come before the morning hour? Hearing none, the clerk will now call the calendar.
Senate calendar for Tuesday, February 22nd, 2022. Uncontested calendar. House bills on third reading.
The chair calls on the senior senator from Fairfax County, Senator Saslaw.
Madam President, I move that all House bills on third reading on the uncontested calendar, that's pages 1 through 9, that's House Bill 40 through House Bill 1363, be advanced to their final passage in a block after the adoption of any amendments thereto, and that any senator desiring to remove a bill from the block, please do so after the clerk has read the number of the bill.
The question is, shall House bills on the uncontested calendar, third reading, pages 1 through 9, House Bill 40 through 1363, be placed upon their final passage in a block after the adoption of the amendments, with the understanding that any senator desiring to remove a bill from the block will do so after the clerk has read the number of the bill? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is agreed to. The bills are now before us in the block. The clerk will read the number of the bills.
House Bill 40, House Bill 67, House Bill 96, House Bill 138, House Bill 138, reported from the Committee on Transportation, House Bill 170, reported from the Committee on Rehabilitation and Social Services, with amendment.
The chair now calls on the senator from Arlington, Senator Favola.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I move that the amendment be agreed to.
The question is, shall the amendment be adopted? Those in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The amendment is agreed to.
House Bill 179, reported from the Committee on Transportation. House Bill 259, reported from the Committee on Transportation. House Bill 275, reported from the Committee on Transportation. House Bill 482, reported from the Committee on Transportation. House Bill 530, reported from the Committee on Transportation, with amendments.
The gentleman from Western Fairfax County, Senator
Thank you, Madam President.
Marsden.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that the committee amendments be agreed to.
The question is, shall the committee amendments be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The committee amendments are agreed to.
House Bill 540, reported from the Committee on Transportation. House Bill 667, reported from the Committee on Transportation. House Bill 703, reported from the Committee on Transportation. House Bill 733, reported from the Committee on Rehabilitation and Social Services. House Bill 751, reported from the Committee on Rehabilitation and Social Services. House Bill 920, reported from the Committee on Transportation. House Bill 1050, reported from the Committee on Transportation. House Bill 1060, reported from the Committee on Rehabilitation and Social Services, with a substitute.
The gentlelady from Arlington, Senator Favola.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I move that the substitute be agreed to.
The question is, shall the substitute be agreed to? Those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The substitute is agreed to.
House Bill 1146, reported from the Committee on Transportation. House Bill 1238, reported from the Committee on Transportation. House Bill 1231, reported from the Committee on Rehabilitation and Social Services, with amendments.
Chair again recognizes the senator from Arlington, Senator Favola.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that the amendments be agreed to.
Question is, shall the committee amendments be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee amendments are agreed to.
House Bill 1363, reported from the Committee on Transportation.
The question is, shall the House bills pass in the block? All in favor of the motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 40, no 0.
Ayes 40, no 0. The bills in the block pass.
Regular calendar, House bills on third reading. House Bill 142, Transit Ridership Incentive Program, amount of funds to be used to establish programs. Reported from the Committee on Transportation.
Senator Marsden, the gentleman from Western Fairfax County.
Thank you, Madam President. This bill changes from a maximum of 25% to a minimum of 25% the amount of transit ridership incentive program funds to be used to support the establishment of programs to reduce the impact of fares on low-income individuals. The bill requires at least 25% of TRIP funds to be used to support regional transit initiatives and provides the Commonwealth Transportation Board has the discretion to allocate the remaining funds available as authorized by law and based on the programs and initiatives submitted during the application process, and I move that the bill pass.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor of passage will record their Those in favor of passage will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 30, noes 10.
Ayes 30, noes 10. The bill passes.
House Bill 426, Alcoholic Beverage Control, Delivery of Alcoholic Beverages, Third-Party Delivery License. Reported from the Committee on Rehabilitation and Social Services.
Chair recognizes the senator from Arlington, Senator Favola.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I move that the bill pass. And speaking to the motion.
The senator may continue.
Thank you, Madam President. This bill is the result of a 1.5-year-long study that the Rehabilitation and Social Services Committee directed ABC to conduct. It does allow for third-party delivery license. It also has some training requirements in there and some container requirements. This bill is identical to Senator Bell's bill, which passed by a margin of 35-4, and it was Senate Bill 254. If any of you are interested, I will defer to the senator from Loudoun if he would like to add any additional information.
The chair recognizes the gentleman from Loudoun, Senator Bell.
Thank you, Madam President. I'll just say this bill is identical to my bill. I work with...
the senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. My apologies. This bill is identical to my bill. I work with Delegate Bulova for that, and with that, I just will hope that you all support this bill, which is really a lifeline to many small businesses. Thank you, Madam President.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor of passage will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 37, noes 3.
Ayes 37, noes 3. The bill passes.
House Bill 450. Parking of vehicles, electric vehicle charging spots, civil penalties. Reported from the Committee on Transportation, and there is a floor sub.
Madam
Chair recognizes the gentleman from Western Fairfax County, Senator Marsden.
Thank you, Madam President. I would ask that that bill go by for the day.
Without objection, House Bill 450, page 10, goes by for the day.
House Bill 665, Correctional Facilities, State Fees Associated with Inmates. Reported from the Committee on Rehabilitation and Social Services with a substitute.
Gentlelady from Arlington, Senator Favola.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I move that the substitute be agreed to.
The question is, shall the substitute be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The substitute is agreed to. Senator Favola.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that the bill pass. And speaking briefly to the motion,
the senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. This is a House bill that is very similar to Senator Boysko's bill, the senator from Northwestern Fairfax. It directs DOC to convene a work group to look at barriers to eliminating fees that are charged to our inmates in state prisons. I will defer to the senator from Northwestern Fairfax should she wish to add anything to my description. Thank you, Madam President.
The chair recognizes the gentlelady from northwestern Fairfax County.
Thank you, Madam President. Speaking to the bill.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. This bill will be oversight over contracts and costs for people who are incarcerated and their loved ones. We heard from some family members who spent on upwards of $30,000 to $40,000 over the lifetime just staying in communication with their loved ones. We worked with the Department of Corrections on this, and I move that we pass the bill.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor of passage will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 31, noes 9.
Ayes 31, noes 9. The bill passes.
House Bill 793, Traffic Incident Management Vehicle. Definition: vehicle may be equipped with secondary warning lights. Reported from the Committee on Transportation with amendment.
Senator Marsden, the gentleman from western Fairfax County.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that the committee amendments be agreed to.
The question is, shall the committee amendments be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The committee amendments are agreed to. Senator Marsden.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that the bill pass. And speaking to the bill.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. House Bill 793 is identical to Senate Bill 450, which authorizes traffic incident management vehicles defined in the legislation operated by persons who meet certain training requirements to be equipped with secondary flashing red and white warning lights. These identification markers help identify traffic incident management vehicles to other motorists and improve the safety of both the motorist and the traffic incident team once they have reached the traffic incident site. It's been done successfully in some of our neighboring states, and I move again that the bill pass.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor of passage will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 29, noes 11.
Ayes 29, noes 11. You said no 0? Ayes 29, noes 11. The bill passes.
House Bill 1053, Correctional Facilities, Local Fees Associated with Inmates. Reported from the Committee on Rehabilitation and Social Services with a substitute.
Chair recognizes the gentlelady again from Arlington, Senator Favola.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I move that the substitute be agreed to.
The question is, shall the substitute be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The substitute is agreed to. Senator Favola.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I move that the bill pass. In speaking to that motion.
Senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. This bill is very similar to the bill from the junior senator from Richmond City, Senator Morrissey. It's similar to Senate Bill 581. What it does is it directs the State Board of Local and Regional Jails to convene a work group to study the fees that are applied when inmates choose to purchase things at the commissary, make telephone calls, or stay in connection with their loved ones. What this bill does is it actually adds specific interest representatives of specific interest groups to the work group that will be examining this, and a report will be required to the Rehabilitation and Social Services and the House Committee on Public Safety. I will now defer to the junior senator from Richmond City should he want to add anything else.
Chair recognizes the junior senator from Richmond City, Senator Morrissey.
Thank you, Madam President. Speaking very briefly to HB 1053.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you. The chairman of Senate Rehab has said all that needs to be said, with the exception of this bill is Very similar to HB 665, it convenes the work study for the jails as compared to HB 665, which convened the work study for DOC facilities. With that addition stated, I'd ask that HB 1053 pass.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor of passage will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 28, noes 12.
Ayes 28, noes 12. The bill passes.
Uncontested calendar, House bills on second reading.
The House will please come to order. Chair recognizes the senior senator from Fairfax County, Senator Saslaw.
Madam President, I move that all House bills on second reading on the uncontested and regular calendars, that's pages 11 through 21, House Bill 32 through House Bill 1306, that the rules be suspended and the second constitutional reading of the titles be dispensed with.
The question is, shall the rules be suspended and the second reading of the titles of House bills on the uncontested and regular calendars, 35 bills, pages 11 through 21, House Bill 32 through 1306, be dispensed with? All in favor of the motion will now record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 40, noes 0.
Ayes 40, no 0. The reading of the titles is dispensed with. Chair recognizes the senior senator again from Fairfax County, Senator Saslaw.
Madam President, I move now that those House bills go by for the day.
The question is, shall the House bills on the uncontested and regular calendars now on their third reading go by for the day? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bills will now go by for the day.
Uncontested calendar, Senate bills on first reading. Senate Bill 29, Budget Bill.
That's all.
Senate Bill 30, Budget Bill.
Madam President, I inquire the clerk, does that complete the calendar?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Is there any other business?
Yes.
The chair recognizes the gentleman from Alexandria, Senator Eben.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise for a point of personal privilege and a motion.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you. Madam President and ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, today marks the 290th birthday of President George Washington. On your desks, you'll find, courtesy of the Mount Vernon Ladies Association, a copy of the Mount Vernon 2022 calendar. And no matter what the senator from Eastern Fairfax may claim, I am still the senator representing Washington's estate at Mount Vernon. In fact, Washington must be turning over in his grave at the prospect of being represented by the gentleman from Eastern Fairfax. In past years, we've spoken about George Washington, the surveyor, George Washington, the Burgess, Washington, the candidate, and Washington, the wartime pandemic leader. This year, though, I'd like to address his legacy as a nonpartisan leader, a particularly relevant topic in today's hyper-partisan environment. In 1796, Washington used his presidential farewell address to warn against a reliance on political parties. He cautioned the nation on the dangers of partisan polarization and urged us to remain unified to sustain a healthy, vibrant democracy, stating, "The alternate domination of one faction over another, sharpened by the spirit of revenge, natural to party dissension, is itself a frightful despotism. Washington's political tenure was unique. He held no formal allegiance to an established party, a feat unreplicated by his 45 successors. He regarded party loyalty over national loyalty as the worst enemy of government. Partisan loyalty, Washington feared, would evolve into elections obsessed only with maintaining power, warning during his farewell address that, quote, cunning, ambitious, and unprincipled men will be enabled to subvert the power of the people to usurp for themselves the reins of government. With the legislative impasses and social turmoil of today, particularly at the federal level, his farewell address warning appears frighteningly accurate. In the wake of the January 6th insurrection, the nation's confidence in government and democracy was severely weakened, indicative of the chilling warning given exactly 225 years prior that political parties would be a fire not to be quenched, which demands a uniform vigilance to prevent its bursting into a flame. America has fallen into the trap Washington perceived partisanship would spring. But recent developments here in the General Assembly show there is hope of meeting Washington's plea for unity. We've worked together to expand health care access for small businesses and reform our broken unemployment benefits system, and we're closer to a bicameral consensus to lower taxes on groceries. We've seen bipartisan cooperation on reforming charitable gaming laws led by the senator from Spotsylvania, the senator from Loudoun, and delegates Austin and Krisak. While there is still much work to be done, we're slowly but surely progressing on marijuana legislation, something both parties understand must be done. The junior senator from Richmond will especially appreciate that President Washington was a grower of hemp. No doubt Washington would have appreciated this specific means of cooperation, and I would hope that in his honor we would double our bipartisan efforts in establishing an adult-use cannabis market. We've seen cooperation on issues that matter most to us: access to a quality education for every child, a more robust economy, an honest and well-functioning government, and care for the beautiful and diverse environment of Washington's beloved Commonwealth. Ultimately, we should do our best to avoid using political parties as a litmus test for morality or as machinery in pointless partisan battles. Despite the diverse lenses through which we propose solutions, we must remain in agreement on our main goal of improving the lives of Virginians and, by extension, improving the lives of Americans. So, Madam President, I move that when we adjourn today, we do so in honor and memory of our consequential and unifying first president, George Washington, in the hopes that we as a nation will be more unified by his 291st and subsequent birthdays.
The chair recognizes the gentleman from Fairfax City, Senator Peterson.
Thank you, Madam President. Rise for an announcement.
The senator has the floor.
First of all, I want to thank the senator from Alexandria for being a great voice for the people of Mount Vernon that have for so long not had that voice in this body. So I thank him for that. That's Fairfax County humor, by the way. Okay, we do have practice tonight. It's critical that you're there. It's our last practice before the game. By the way, for those of you that are wondering, your practice attendance will be relevant to the minutes you will earn on the court for the game next week. However, it's going to be inverted. If you're not at practice, you will have to play more. So it's unlike most basketball teams. Please try and be there. Also, thank you, Senator McDougal, for your check. I'm still waiting on a bunch of checks. I think right now we're at about 20%. I know we're going to get to 90% and eventually 100%. So please bring your checkbook. I will send a link around with a link for Massey Cancer Center. And so please get us your $250. And that's what we have. Thank you, Madam President.
Practice. Is that what we're talking about? Practice. Practice. Should be talking about the game, not practice. The chair now recognizes the gentlelady from Northern Fairfax County, Senator Howell.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise just for an announcement.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you. If your desk is like many of those around here, it's loaded with papers. So I want to bring to your attention a green sheet that outlines for you the process we'll follow on the budget. And I hope you'll notice it has a very hard deadlines of 5 tomorrow to both get your floor amendments drafted for the budget and also to submit a list of those amendments you plan to remove from the block by 5 o'clock. Thank you.
Is there any other business to come before the Senate? Hearing none, the clerk will now report any announcements on the desk.
Today, Tuesday, February 22nd, the Committee on Privileges and Elections will meet 15 minutes after adjournment, Senate Room 3, Capitol. The Committee on Agriculture, Conservation, and Natural Resources will meet 1/2 hour after adjournment, Senate Room A, Pocahontas. The Education and Health Subcommittee on Health will meet at 4 p.m., Subcommittee Room 2, 5th floor, Pocahontas. Senators Lewis, Saslaw, Barker, Donovan, and Suderline. The Virginia Legislative Black Caucus will meet at 5 p.m., Subcommittee Room 300A, 3rd floor, Pocahontas. The Northern Virginia delegation will meet at 5 p.m., Senate Leadership Conference Room, 6th floor, Pocahontas. Tomorrow, Wednesday, February 23rd, the Women's Legislative Roundtable will meet at 8:30 a.m., Tidewater Room, 4th floor, SunTrust Center. The Committee on Finance and Appropriations will meet at 9 a.m., Committee Room B, Pocahontas. The Democratic Caucus will meet at 11 a.m., Senate Room 1 in the Capitol. The Republican Caucus will meet at 11:15 a.m., Senate Room 2 in the Capitol. Please read over the green sheet that is on your desk pertaining to the budget floor process. Floor amendments and requests for out-of-block must be submitted to the front desk by 5 p.m. tomorrow, Wednesday, February 23rd, 5 p.m. Please have your committee amendments with you on Thursday. We will not be handing them out, so bring them with you.
The chair again recognizes the gentlelady from Northern Fairfax County, Senator Howell.
Thank you. I just wanted to announce that Senate Finance Committee will not be meeting tomorrow morning.
Chair now recognizes the senator from Portsmouth, Senator Lucas.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I move that the Senate do now adjourn until 12 noon tomorrow, and that we adjourn in memory of President George Washington.
The question is, shall the Senate adjourn until 12 o'clock noon tomorrow in the name of our first president, George Washington? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is agreed to. The Senate stands adjourned until 12 o'clock noon tomorrow.